Alright lads, so this is going to be my first community questions video. I'd really like some feedback on this, so video response is welcome, because I'm sure there's a lot of factors to this topic that I've not yet took into account, and it's to do with the decision that I'm probably going to make in the near future with regards to part of my collection, and all will be revealed on that front shortly. But yeah, this is about basically the value of our collections in our games. Now, to preface this by saying that I am definitely first and foremost a gamer, and so you know, pretty much every single thing I've got in my collection is there because I want to play it, and it's something that I do want to actually experience. But there is another aspect to this collecting lark, and there's certainly a fair amount of it that I'm at least hoping, maybe even expecting, to accrue value in the future. And you know, it would be nice to have something to pass down to my nephew, maybe when I'm really older, that's, you know, valuable, or just to have if I need it in the future to sell. It'd be nice to, yeah, once I'm done with it all, why not make a profit off of your collection? It's one consideration of this whole collecting thing, but again, it's not the main motivation, it's just a side aspect to it. But this topic will influence, like I said, a decision that I'm due to make in the near future, and I'll talk about that more later in the week. So I can't really decide whether or not video games and, you know, our collections are gonna keep going up and up in value, and there's kind of arguments on both sides of it. So I'm going to give you a summary of some of the points that I've thought of, like, for and against the idea that games will, you know, become more and more valuable in the future. So first I'll start with the points as to why they might keep going up, why they might keep increasing in value. Okay, first of all, just, you know, being older, and being, you know, as they get more rare, as you know, there's less of these games in good condition, less in existence in general, and so just becoming more and more rare, that's something that might push that value up and up and up. And you know, gaming is an industry that is still growing and drawing in more people, so there's a potential there for the audience to keep growing as well as more generations get into it, and there's more people looking out for video games. And to go back and look for, you know, the old stuff and the classic games and the history of the industry might become more and more in demand as more people are into it. So there's that to it. There's also the fact, well, this is kind of a speculation, but if, as it seems to be the trend, gaming goes in a digital only direction, is it possible that people will you know, seek out the older stuff because people just like to have things? You know, people like to have physical collections of things. Now again, that's not a black and white situation, because it depends what your own interests are. I mean, for example, with music these days, all my music is downloaded. I never buy CDs anymore. I used to have shelves and shelves of them, so that's something that I've been happy to move into the digital realm. So will it be a case that in the future, you know, future gamers also won't mind having no physical games on the shelf? Will it be something that they'll just take as natural, that all the games are on a hard drive somewhere and that's just how it is? So maybe they won't miss the physical release, but the physical copies, but you know, in the most part, I'm going to say that there's a potential there for people to go and seek out those actual physical, those relics, those treasures of the industry, you know, and to have something in their possession. That's a possibility there. Now, because I've always kind of thought that games have the capacity to be, you know, the kind of things you'll see on future programs of, like, Antiques Roadshows. You know, like in 50 years time, someone will come out with a Mega CD Mark 1 that's still working and lighting up, and they'll bring it in, and maybe, you know, people will look at these relics of technology, and so that it's an interesting possibility there. But so those are a couple of the reasons that, you know, maybe games will keep accruing value. And there's also obviously the case that we have seen certainly an increase in most video games going up and up and up in recent years. I mean, at the moment, Super Nintendo is just skyrocketing all the time, going up and up. In the last 5-10 years especially, yeah, the 16-bit era and upwards has has really been gaining momentum, but is it something that's kind of plateaued already, or is it something that's close to its limit, and then will it come back down again, or will it just keep going up and up? This is what I'm trying to kind of get a handle on, and speculate on rather. So some of the reasons that it might not, that the games might not keep going up and up in value, and this is the other part of the argument. Okay, now speaking from personal perspective, I really have absolutely no interest in collecting for 8-bit machines or before that. I don't have any nostalgia for those systems. It's not something that I played as a child, so I don't place any kind of emotional investment on that era. So Master System, the NES, and before that, like Atari systems, ColecoVision, all those kind of really retro, really from the really dawn of home gaming. I really don't have any interest in collecting for those systems because I have no personal attachment to them. So will it be the case that future generations will have just as little interest in collecting the older stuff as I do for the stuff from the late 70s and early 80s? You know, will they have just absolutely no nostalgia for, say, Mega Drive, Saturn, N64, that kind of thing? So will interest wane because people don't have that first-hand experience of that magical time of being a child and first getting into those games? Now, in the community here, of course, we've got people of all ages, and there's certainly some teenagers that weren't around or weren't gaming, at least during the, you know, when the 16-bit era was there, but they're into it now. So, you know, again, you can't make complete generalizations about this. It's just about, or you can't make absolute statements about this. Of course, it's just a general approach to, you know, the trends that we're seeing. So, but speaking from personal experience, again, I don't have any interest in 8-bit and before that. So will it be the case in the future that people don't have interest in collecting for later console generations? And if that's the case, then, you know, like now you can pick up Atari 2600 games quite cheap, at least cartridge anyway. I'm not sure exactly what the going rate is for the box stuff. I'm sure there are some rare and desirable titles, but on the whole it seems to be the case that at the moment it's 16-bit, maybe 32-bit that have the most valuable, most desirable, most expensive retro collections. So there's that. But you know, there's also the fact that these games are available in lots of different formats now, so you don't really need to have the original hardware to experience these old games if you do get into them. Of course, lots of stuff are getting re-released on your Xbox Live, PS networks. A lot of the old stuff's coming out on them. You can also, of course, you know, burn your. I mean, here's a whole stack of Dreamcast discs that I've burned myself. Here's an Easy Flash 4 cartridge with a bunch of Game Boy Advance games on it on an SD card. So again, there's lots of different ways that you can play those old games without actually needing the original hardware. So there's that aspect to it as well. There's also the possibility that in future, you know, the less actual consoles that are working, the original consoles are working, then maybe, you know, maybe it'd be impossible for a greater number of people to be actually collecting for those systems. So maybe the games will become redundant, and maybe those will then start to lose value. So I mean, that's it. That's a kind of look from both sides of the coin there. I'm sure there's lots of other aspects to this that I've not explored, but give me your thoughts, give me some video responses. That would be really helpful, because like I said, I'm going to probably be making a decision with regards to part of my collection in the near future, and it will be influenced by whether or not I think this part of my collection is worth hanging on to from an investment point of view, or whether I should just sell them now and make do with what I'm going to be getting soon. So that's it, guys. Yeah, see you in the next video, and look forward to seeing and reading your responses. Bye bye.